This is the movement. The movement.
When we last saw each other, you asked me if I was still doing earrings, and I said no. And I said the reason why was because if I didn't stop, I wouldn't stop, and I couldn't stop, and people wouldn't let me stop. And I needed folks to kind of see the new evolved me, not still keep me in this box as just a jewelry art, as just a jewelry artist. That seemed to kind of resonate with you a little bit.
Yeah, it did, because as I was saying earlier, before I moved to New York a decade ago, I made jewelry, and I did very well. I did events, I did shows, my work sold, and I loved it.
Okay.
And like you said, I evolved and moved on
To fine arts.
to fine arts. So I quit making jewelry. A lot of people were shocked by that. Got to New York, focused, working, and then I continued to make jewelry, but I made jewelry for myself.
Okay.
It was something that I did for me.
Okay.
Or every now and then I would make a piece of jewelry and give as a gift.
So how did you allow, or how were you being affected when others were influencing you that you should maybe do this full time, or you should do more of this as a living, and you're kind of like, no, or?
It was, that's really about, it's bigger than just the creative. It's a life issue. It's about what should and must, what you should and shouldn't do according to society and according to other people's values. Well, I can make jewelry and I can make money.
Okay.
I can build a business and probably become independent from working for someone else by doing jewelry. So I bought into that.
Okay.
But I couldn't sleep at night because what I realized is that you can't do everything at once. I learned somewhere that if you chase two rabbits, you'll never catch one.
Well, that's true. You
Yeah.
can barely catch the one.
Exactly.
They're pretty quick. So yes, okay.
But you put your focus on that and you go after it, eventually you're going to catch that rabbit.
Alethea? Sidebar, because we were just kind of talking
and
about
it's
all
difficult,
the balls in
and
the air.
especially I
Yeah.
think it's really difficult as a creative person.
Yeah.
And you got all this
Because
other
you know what
stuff
happens?
coming in.
That's the issue or problem or challenge, because when you are a creative person, you don't even know that you've gotten yourself in another project.
Oh my God! Thank you for saying that. Thank you for saying that.
You don't even know, because
Yeah.
you just started doing something, and because it's just so natural part of who you are as an artist, you just started doing it, and before you know it, you were involved in another project, in another company, organization's goal of X, Y, Z, and you're like, hold up, wait a minute.
And I have to wonder for other people how much of that is outside influence, whether you're conscious of it or not.
Okay.
I
wonder. I don't think you're conscious of it. Whether it's because of the outside influences, I wonder about. So you're in New York. You are a fine arts artist.
Right.
What's that like? And then you said something kind of interesting when you came. You said your husband. So did you bring him? Did you meet him here?
No, I actually just met my husband about less than 4 years ago. A little under 4 years ago.
So talk about being a fine arts artist.
Yes.
And then how has that affected being married, and I guess maybe not in a bad way, because he met you as this artist,
did,
and
but
married you.
but my husband is not an artist.
Okay.
And so the thing about, I always say that I think marriage, and I'm blessed, is I always say I think marriage is a whole lot better for men than it is women.
What do you mean?
Because as women we give.
Okay.
You know, we take care, if we have kids, we take care of our kids.
Mm-hmm.
If we have husbands, we take care of our husbands. We take care of our homes. You know, if we have jobs that have nothing to do with our art practice, it's about that energy that goes out.
Okay.
You know, and sometimes my poor husband, you know, my husband is from Senegal, and he's from a culture where men are accustomed to being catered to.
Okay.
And when we started dating, I thought that was so cute and sexy.
To cater to him.
Yeah,
You thought it was
not
cute
so
and
much
sexy.
to cater to him, but the
Okay.
fact that he was, in our terms, spoiled.
Okay, you thought it was cute and
Oh,
sexy.
that was so cute and
Was
sexy.
it? Okay.
Yeah.
I
then he
noticed
was-
you noticed the
yeah.
word, you said the word was.
Yeah, because
Okay.
he was spoiled, and you know, and then when it really became real, like after we got married, my husband is an amazing person.
Mm-hmm.
And I talked to a friend of mine about this, and he's like, old habits are hard to break. So my husband's no longer in Senegal, and now he's in America. And in a marriage, as an artist,
Mm-hmm.
I need a partner.
Right.
You know, so we're partners, and he's on board with that. But every now and then, I have to remind him. But as a creative person, it's about our energy.
Okay.
So you have to be, in my opinion, as a creative person, you have to be in a happy space.
Okay.
I'm not necessarily saying that you've got to be this happy person all the
Mhm.
time, but you've got to be in a good place to create
Okay.
and produce.
Right.
You know, and you have to have energy to do that.
Do you think he understands that?
He does understand
Okay.
that. He understands that I'm a person who needs my quiet time,
Okay.
and I need my space, sometimes just to sit and think
Mhm.
and ponder. And he supports that.
Okay.
You know, so it's kind of like a trade-off. I have someone in my life, my husband, who balances things. You know, he's very optimistic.
Okay.
He's very supportive.
So what was like, okay, so you've been married how long now?
Under 4 years.
And how long have you guys been together?
Under 4 years.
So what was life 5 years ago as a woman who was an artist here in New York?
I have to say,
As a woman.
as a woman, I have to say that pretty much most of my journey here in New York, I've had a partner.
Mm.
A few months after I moved here in 2006, I met someone.
Okay.
He was an artist.
Okay.
And we just clicked, and we were together for 5 years.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. And so then I had about a 2-year period.
Okay, so then what was life back in Texas then? Well, how different was it there than it is in here
Well,
in New
New
York?
York is not an easy place to be.
Not at all.
It's not an easy place. Living
Are you saying that Texas is?
much easier.
Okay. In
Absolutely.
what way?
I mean, so many more creature comforts
Okay.
that I actually gave up to be here.
Mhm.
You know, and I think it takes a minute. I don't know if you're from New York, but when you're coming in from somewhere else, it really takes a while to get that footing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it really, really does.
When you left Houston, was everyone thinking you were crazy?
Absolutely.
Okay.
You know, and I didn't come to New York. I came to New York at a time in my life where my contemporaries were buying houses
Mhm.
and settling down.
Right.
And of course, you know, even my family members were like, don't give everything away. Don't get rid of all
So
of your stuff.
what made you do that? What made you give up your security to come to the beast?
I had to. I always wanted to live in New York as an adult woman.
Okay.
You know, I remember years ago doing The Artist Way, the book by
mhm.
Julia Cameron. There was an exercise about, you know, if you could have anything, it's just this dream. I remember writing in that exercise, living in New York as an artist. You know, no details about what
Mhm.
that might look like, but boom, here I am.
Okay.
You know, and it's like that
And were
dream.
you already a successful artist in Houston?
Well, here we go back to that word success. What is
Okay.
successful?
In
You
your
know?
mind and heart, were
No,
you?
absolutely. And I still don't feel like I am.
Okay. Well, were you a working artist? Did people buy your art?
Yes.
Okay.
In fact, I sold more work when I lived in Houston than
Okay.
I have the whole decade plus years that I've been
So
in New
what
York.
keeps you here then?
This is where I'm supposed to be. I love it here. I love it. I actually produced more work
Mm-hmm.
when I lived in Houston
Okay.
than I've produced here.
Okay.
but I've learned so much more.
Really?
I've been exposed to so much more.
Like
I mean,
what
I
thing?
had big open spaces in Houston to
Okay.
create work.
Okay.
I created 6 feet pieces.
Okay.
You know, you don't have that kind of space here. You know, I mean, I've been exposed to so many people.
Okay.
So many artists
Mm.
who do all sorts of work. You
What's
know,
those conversations like? Because I feel like I'm always around artists and the conversation seems to be the same, but then I'm not a visual or, you know, I don't draw or sculpt. I'm not the type of artist that you are. So how is that?
do you really want me to be honest about?
No.
You know?
Yes.
Okay.
She's on natural session.
Okay.
She must doesn't know.
I have
Okay.
this thing. I tend to really mesh well with literary artists, with
Oh,
writers.
okay.
I love writers. I
Okay.
love being around them. I love talking. I love socializing with writers.
Okay.
There's just this thing. I find this thing amongst visual artists. There's not enough for everyone mentality,
Okay.
and I can't stand that.
Okay.
So there's a lot of blocks there with that.
Okay. Do you think? Well, okay. So we won't go with that. What's the difference between that community here in New York and the community you came from in Houston?
It's the same.
It is? Okay.
Absolutely. The thing about New York is that there are so many classrooms. You know, you go to the Whitney, you go to the Studio Museum down the street, you go to the Met. I mean, there's just so much to fill that creative well, you know. And then there are all of these organizations that give free workshops, and it's been an education for me
Okay.
as a self-taught artist.
Okay.
It really, really has been. And there's opportunity here. You can still do things without.
That's very optimistic.
Yeah.
You sound so like, what's that dowdy eye? Like, so like, I still can make
Oh,
it.
God. You know
10
what?
years in here in New York, you don't
I
sound
really-
jaded, discouraged.
Oh my God! I can't believe you're saying. I really appreciate you saying that.
Okay.
Because I think about quitting every day.
Do you?
Absolutely.
Why do you think about quitting every day?
Because it is difficult.
Mhm.
You know, it's difficult because you got to keep that roof over your
Mhm.
head. You know, and I have a full-time job that has nothing to do with
Do
my creative
you?
practice.
Does that interfere with you?
It's
being an
hard.
artist?
It's
Okay.
hard. It's hard.
What do you do? What's your 9 to 5?
Actually, I'm a flight attendant.
Are you really?
Yes, I
okay.
am. And it has nothing to do. You know,
But do you see art in travel then?
I see art in travel, and I feel like I'm the only person looking at the art, and that weighs on me.
Oh.
Like, why is she walking so slow? Why is she looking at that?
Okay.
We need to get to our hotel room. We need to get to the plane. And I'm like, you know what I'm
Take
saying?
it in.
Exactly. And no one wants to hear about that. Ain't
Okay.
nobody got time for that.
Right.
So, and I don't know if you have a daytime job that has nothing to do with your
Mhm.
creative practice, but I was talking about energy earlier. That takes up a lot of my energy.
Okay.
You know?
So is that part of the reason why you haven't created as much being here in New York? Because you've also had to be employed.
Well, I was employed then.
Oh,
So I
okay.
was doing the
Okay.
same thing.
So
I
have you
think
ever given 100% then to your art, to just art?
there have been times through organizations that have given me grants or fellowships to go away and
Okay.
do residencies.
Okay.
I haven't done a lot of residencies, but I do have one coming up that I'm
Okay.
very excited about. And those are usually 30 days.
Okay.
And that's 30 days.
That you just get to be creative.
They give you a studio
Mm-hmm.
and they provide your meals, and there's nothing to do but be an artist. I think that maybe sometimes when I daydream about being an artist 100%, that might be a bit, I don't know. Sometimes I think that might be unrealistic.
Okay.
But then there are artists who are fortunate enough
Mhm.
to sell $100,000 and up pieces.
How does that make you feel?
Well, I mean, I'm only human, and so then I look back and think about what mistakes. If I had done this, if I had done that, if
Mhm.
only I had done this,
Right.
then I could.
But I think that's what my point is. Is that really even fair to do and say? Because did you make mistakes, or is there something you could have done different? You know what I mean?
Right.
Is it just one of those things.
Right.
And if it is just one of those things, then how do we keep it going? How, if you want to quit every day, then what's the thing that says don't quit every day?
The thing that says don't quit every day is that I know my spirit would die. I mean, I'm doing what I'm supposed to do.
Mm-hmm.
I just, I'm like, yeah, I know that.
How long have you always wanted to be an artist? Were you an artist from little going up? Like, have you always been creating? Because you say you were self-taught, so you didn't necessarily go to school for this. Okay.
To be honest with you, my creative outlet initially was as a performer in the theater.
Okay.
I was a theater artist. I studied theater in school.
Okay.
And somehow I moved into the visual. And now what's happening for me is that I'm sort of not necessarily moving back into theater, but moving back into performance and incorporating.
Okay. Because I feel like, you did tell me years back when we met that you were actually a performer as well. I do remember that. Okay.
So now in some way there's a circle coming around where I'm stepping back into performance, not necessarily theater, but performance.
Can you give me
with
an
the
example?
Visual. Recently, I'm not sure. I'm with a collective called Black Women Artists for Black Lives Matter.
Okay.
And we had a big event at the new museum downtown last fall, and I was part of the performance group.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess the best way we could say spoken word.
Okay.
Or spoken word as it relates to a bigger art project that I'm working on, perhaps taking on. I do work that relates to enslaved women.
Okay.
The slave trade.
Okay.
Connections to my enslaved ancestors.
Why?
It's my calling.
Okay.
It's absolutely my calling.
What's the image on your card?
That image, okay.
That you're deciding and debating should you change.
Right.
Even though I met you in 2006, it's 2017, you have the same card.
That image is actually what really put me on the track of this ancestral work.
Which is what I kind of figured.
Right. That image. So I would say that the woman on the card is my muse.
Okay.
The image is an image of an art piece that I did around that picture.
Okay.
And that is a picture of my namesake, Elvira Clayton.
Okay.
And she is also my paternal grandmother.
Okay.
Whom I never met.
Okay.
Right. She died when my father was young, East Texas. Her father was born in 1865, the last year of slavery. So yeah, that's what really, it's just this knowledge, this desire to know who she is, what her life must have been like, and her mother and her. I just have a very strong connection to her, and to be honest, I've been doing the work, but I've been avoiding going 100 with it.
Why?
Because it's not sexy and it's not cool and it's not, it's about that validation again. And I'm like stronger and bigger and grander than all of that, but it's my truth. And I'm also afraid of the pain associated with it. I'm afraid of the pain associated with it.
I think I know what you mean. What do you mean?
Yeah, because if I'm going to go in, it ain't going to feel good.
Why? But why wouldn't it? Because wouldn't it also feel like a release, and that you're not only telling your story, but their stories that have been untold?
Right. Yeah, but you got to get through that to get to that release. And so I'm there. I'm nipping, but I'm not going as hard in as I should, and I know I'm not. And in order for me to get to the other side, I'm gonna have to. Yeah.
So, if you mind me asking, how old are you?
No,
I don't know.
I still have issues with that.
So 40 plus.
Yes, that's a good one. I like that.
When were you technically, like, when did you leave home?
You mean home as in my mother's house?
Yes, ma'am.
I was 18.
Okay, so at 20 years old, 40 plus, what's the one lesson, just one lesson, that you learned at that 40 plus that you wish you knew at that 20-year-old?
This is a lesson that I'm only recently learning. And that is to enjoy the journey. I wish that I had known to just relax and enjoy, to laugh more, to dance more.
People say that, but what does that really mean? Like, I feel like that's the new, 40 plus,
Right.
enjoy, seize
Okay,
the
what that means is, for me, what that means is, instead of these, we were speaking earlier about regrets, when I look back and think about things that I complained about with ex-lovers, with ex-friends that are no longer in my life, people that are no longer in my life, the good times that I could have had but didn't because I complained about bullshit, little things. Even this thing we were talking about earlier about not being successful or not being where I want to be in my practice. It's not about where I'm going in my practice. Mm-hmm. It's about this journey that I've had. It's about that first workshop that I took in New York where I learned how to write a budget for an art project. That's the prize. Whether I got the grant, based on the budget or not, the prize was that I was sitting in that space, downtown, and I'm here, I'm in New York, I'm sitting amongst these people. That's the journey. That's what I'm supposed to enjoy, not what I may or may not get down the road. That's what it means for me.
Did you want kids?
Never wanted kids.
Were you ever made to feel guilty about not wanting kids?
No.
Oh, cool.
No.
Now, 4 years, I have a husband, he's wonderful, he's great, but, I'm not new to men, like I've been in New York now 10 plus years.
Right.
He's my second, why marry him and not all the beautiful men before him? If they were beautiful.
No, they weren't really. Okay, so I married my husband because he wanted to get married. I have never been that girl looking for a husband.
Really?
Never.
Really?
Oh, no.
So you weren't the girl looking for a husband and you weren't the girl who wanted kids.
Correct. Even as a child, I would say to my mother, I'm never getting married and I'm never going to have kids. And she couldn't believe that this was coming out.
Did you come from a woman, a mother who had a bad marriage or something? Or
basically, all the women in my family had bad marriages.
So did that influence you not wanting to get married?
I don't know what that was.
Okay,
I was too young to even know, but I always said that. I never, and what's very interesting is that I think that my generation of black women were probably the first to really be able to choose whether or not they want to have kids or not. Okay. And there's a lot of women, I don't have a lot of friends, but I have friends. The majority of my friends don't have kids.
Wow.
I know.
I say wow, like wow, really?
Yes.
Okay. But you know what? I think you're right though, because you kind of were that first age group that were really probably the first free.
Right. Yeah.
And the most, because when I think about it too, as far as my girlfriends, I have to think that any of my girlfriends who's over 45 that doesn't have, there's quite a few of them, and I never even thought about that. And it's quite a few of them where they were fine not having kids.
Right. And I'm like,
that's
we
why
must
I
be
asked
some
that question.
Weirdos or something.
Well, maybe that's what's weird, is that the question, it should be weird, and it shouldn't be weird.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, if all of us have been granted this independent spirit to do what it is that we want, why is it the program that women have to become mothers, or women have to become wives? So when I asked that question, I asked it because I feel I've heard of women who have gotten the guilt trip about not having or not wanting kids. And I love it when a woman says that she does it, because I'm almost upset when a woman feels like that she's not complete unless she does those things. So I think when you meet women who feel like they still have a full life and they're not thinking about those things, that's almost refreshing, because there are women who get that guilt trip. So we need more women to be like,
Yeah. Now, there's that other part of me that truly believe that the higher power gave us all of this to have babies.
Okay, but
mankind created something that I could use, i.e. birth control, to avoid that from happening. Whether it's this method or that, Yeah.
So has that affected the men that has been wanting to have full lives with you because you didn't want to get married or you didn't want to have children, so they kind of fell back? Or did it make dating easier?
I think it made dating easier.
Okay.
You know, I think so. I think that you attract what you put out.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of men that I've dated in my life didn't have kids.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
I know, that's kind of crazy. But I haven't dated. I've had like 3 long-term relationships in my life.
But those 3 did not have children.
Well, my first long-term relationship did have kids, and it was the straw that broke the camel's back, for sure.
Okay. And your husband's daughter she's a grown woman.
She's a little girl.
Oh, she's a little girl.
Yeah, my husband's younger than me.
Oh,
so
snap. Wait now. You just dipped that
Yeah.
He is younger than you. How much younger?
Younger.
So what's that? How did that happen?
But I've always been, younger men have always been attracted to me, and I've always, it just happened. It's not like, I'm going for a younger man.
Okay.
It just happened.
Okay.
I don't know what's up with that.
Okay.
I really don't.
Really?
But yeah, and
that's interesting.
Yeah. His daughter is 7.
Okay.
So.
But she doesn't live here.
Right.
Which means that her mother doesn't also live here.
Correct.
Do they get along though?
Yes, they do.
Okay.
They do.
Because so many times we hear parents not getting along.
I think that's very important.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's very important, and not just for a mother and father to get along, but if there's a significant other in their
which
lives,
is what I was coming to.
They should get along.
Mm-hmm.
And and I think in the Senegalese culture, or I think many African cultures, there's still that mentality of it takes a village to raise a kid.
Okay.
So she also calls me mother.
But that's what I was getting ready to ask you.
She does.
So how was the relationship being formed between you and the mother? I know it's difficult because she doesn't live in this country.
And there's a language barrier, but we do speak on the phone.
Okay.
I've met her in person.
So it's not like shade. It's not like when you're on the phone with the daughter, you don't hear the mother. Okay.
Oh no.
Right.
I mean, ain't nobody got time for that. Anything other
you
than
say
that.
But that doesn't
I
mean
know.
it doesn't happen
I know
every
because
day.
it happened in my family.
Okay.
And maybe it's not right. It's an injustice to the child.
Mm-hmm.
It's just not right. It doesn't make sense.
So then how were you able to escape that then?
Well, maybe because she lives in another country.
Well, no. Because even you came saying it as a culture, they still believe it takes a village. So you might not have been able to escape that. But even prior to this relationship, how have you been able to escape falling into, I guess, that trap of the bitter black woman?
I don't know. I mean, and I'm not saying that there's not some bitterness in me.
Okay.
I think that we're American. We're living here. Everybody got a little bitter as Americans, I think.
What came to my mind just now spiritually, and this is not a main question, but with the baggage, or with the angry black woman stereotype that we have, what's the angry light skin stereotype that we get? that we get, because we hear about it.
No, I've never heard that before.
Okay.
Angry light skin?
Is there such a thing?
I've never heard it before.
Have you been discriminated against your own being a light skinned woman?
I think it's possible.
But you weren't.
I mean, I don't know what somebody's thinking, but it's possible. I mean, I'm that person, like, I don't understand, like, my best girlfriend in Houston, we have our own little language, and she'll say, so-and-so, they didn't black speak? They didn't even black speak? Meaning when 2 black people pass each other, we acknowledge.
Okay.
We don't do that anymore, and that still trips me out.
Okay.
Or you meet a sister and she'll give you shade.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I think, well, is it because I don't really see this skin? I'm black, you black.
Right.
That's me.
Right. So because you don't walk around with it, you don't even see it if you get it.
Well, when I get it, I'm like, what is that? But I don't know what that is. I'm thinking that's just that thing we do, and that's a damn shame.
So what do you do? Yeah. What do you do, or how do you combat that?
It used to really hurt me.
Did it really?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
And sometimes it still does.
Okay.
I told someone at MAC Cosmetics the other day, I'm a girl woman. like my Angela say, I'm very tenderhearted, and I'm also sometimes I forget that every sister don't think she my sister. Whereas I used to really be that girl who thought every sister was my sister.
Me too.
And I still want to be that girl. But now it's kind of like I just got to brush it off, shake it off,
Yes, ma'am.
and keep moving. Sometimes it still gets to me, but I think more so than it gets to me, it's still shocking.
Right. That is happening.
Yeah.
And that's it.
It's still, when I can feel us avoiding eye contact.
You're like, girl, bye. Come give me some love.
Yeah, it's why. It's like, wow.
And that's it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. This is great. You have no idea.
This is the movement. The movement.